Hello and welcome to Efficient Cooking Without Humor, where we do what? Exactly, we cook German food. And today we're gonna make a Zwiebelrostbraten, which is a braised slice of beef with a rich dark brown sauce and topped with some fried onions. It is a dish that's more common in the southern parts of Germany and Austria. Today I'll be showing you the Austrian version, which uses braised beef instead of a steak. And it's super delicious, one of my favorite dishes. So I think we should dive right into it. Alright, first things first about the ingredients for a Zwiebelrostbraten. You'll be needing some beef. This is an eye of round steak, which is the American name for this cut. In Germany we call it Oberschale, in Austria it's called Schale. About the other countries I don't know, but in general you just want to have a little bit of a leaner cut that is good for braising. Then we'll be needing some salt, black pepper, white pepper, some oil, I'm using canola oil, some red wine, flour, sweet paprika powder, butter, mustard, some onions and some shallots, as well as my homemade stock. It's called brauner in Germany. At some point I will definitely upload a video so you know how to make your own. As always, the exact measurements you will find down in the description. The first step of our preparation will be to finely mince the peeled shallots. Together with the brauner fond, that will be the base for our sauce. So next, we want to cut our meat. First off, we don't really need to trim any of the fat since we're gonna braise the meat anyway. Then we are just gonna cut it into 4 to 5 millimeter thick slices. That is about 1/6 of an inch. Then in the next step, we wanna pound our meat. We are not doing this necessarily to make the slices thinner, but more to tenderize it and make sure that they are even in terms of thickness, so they cook equally. In the next step, we wanna season our meat, just both sides, with salt and ground black pepper. Next, we wanna put mustard on one side of the meat, very importantly, only one side, and it shouldn't be too thick, just a thin layer, like you can see here, exactly like that. And we want to do that to all 6 slices of meat. So lastly, what we want to do here is to put the meat into some flour, just lay them down, and like that we can move on to the cooking part of the recipe. Into a piping hot saucepan, we put some canola oil and then we add our meat with the flour side down. Yeah, very importantly, please don't put flour on the mustard side. The flour only goes on one side. We will fry our meat nice golden brown on the flour side, and then we flip it onto the mustard side and we will fry it briefly on that side. Yeah, don't burn the mustard, please. Then we will take out all of our meat and we will drain off the excess oil that gathered in the bottom of the pan. Please don't wash the pan because there's some nice fond that built on the bottom of the pan. We're gonna add some butter to that. As you can see, very beautiful. This really gives this a nice roasting aroma. To the butter, we will add the shallots. Don't worry, you can add all of them. They look like a lot, but they are not that much. We will wait until they have some nice color, as you can see here. And then we will make sure that the heat is turned up and we will add our red wine. We will let the red wine cook off a little bit, so most of the alcohol evaporates and a little bit of the acidity is out. And then we will add in our brauner fond. Beautiful. Once you have added in your brauner fond, you should definitely make sure that you scrape off all the fond from the bottom of the pan if you haven't done so already. And then you basically can just put back in your meat along with all the liquid that gathered in the plate. And from that, you just wanna simmer this on the stove for, I would say, a medium low for about 45 minutes to 1 hour. As always, make sure the meat is done. Don't necessarily take my cooking time as a law. Check your own meat, check whether it's done. Once it's done, perfect, you can start serving it. So The last thing we need to prepare are the fried onions that go as a topping. First we're gonna peel the onions, then we're gonna slice them into about 2 mm thick slices, which is about 1/10 of an inch. We will season that with some, or not season, we will dust it with some flour and season it with some sweet paprika powder and some freshly cracked white pepper. Once we did that, we will give it a nice toss and make sure they are evenly coated, but not too thick, as you can see here. Okay, so now we are ready to fry our onions. We're gonna heat up a small saucepan with canola oil to about 160 degrees Celsius or 320 degrees Fahrenheit. Once we've reached that temperature, we can add in our onions and we will fry them basically until they are nice and golden brown. The point of this is they should get really nice and crispy. So you can crank up the heat in the end a little bit to ensure the crispiness, and once they have the right color, as you can see here, you just take them out to some kitchen paper. So because you want to drain off the fat immediately once they are out of the pan. The next thing, or the last thing you need to do here, is you need to salt them lightly. Don't do too much salt because that will just lead them to be a little bit soggy. Okay guys, here we are with our finished Zwiebelrostbraten. I'm serving it with some fried potatoes and some green beans with bacon. It's not a traditional German Bratkartoffeln, it's my own version of it. It's a bit more crispy and maybe a little bit like home-style fries if you're from America. And yes, but you can also serve this with all kinds of things. You can do it with all kinds of potatoes, like mashed potatoes, just regular boiled potatoes. You can also serve it with noodles or with rice if you're crazy, or even bread, honestly. It will go well with basically anything. So anyway, I'll help myself to 2 nice pieces here. 1 and 2. Then we will add some sauce. Here we go. Nice, rich, dark sauce. You really want to cover the meat because this is, besides the meat, this is really the showstopper about this dish. So we put this to the side and we will add some of these crispy potatoes on top, like so. And that's it. Zwiebelrostbraten. Okay, so here we are with our finished plate. I'm gonna take a bite here. Very hungry, so let's give this a try. Oh, the meat already feels super tender. A little bit of a big bite, but I can tell you, it's amazing. I'll help myself to a second bite, then I'll give you a rundown of the flavors here. Well worth the time. Well, it's just, it has this sweetness from the onions, that rich beefy flavor from the stock in the sauce, and the meat itself is just great. It's not dry at all, it's super tender, even though it's a leaner cut, but the way we cook it, it will retain the moisture and it's just perfect. If you're looking to cook something German for your friends, for your wife, husband, whomever, honestly, this is a great dish to get into German food. And thank you very much for watching. I would love it if you would give me some feedback in the comments, leave a like, dislike, whatever you want. And obviously, if you could subscribe, that means the world to me. Thank you so much and I see you next time. Bye bye und tschüss.